Hey, Radu. Hey, Richard, 8:45. And so you should, and so you should. How you all doing this morning? Hope you're well. Got a bit of OGS in there, of course. So this morning, well, this afternoon, I'm going to be doing a large billiard, bent billiard. It's going to be very close to full bent. And it looks like it's got some nice grain on it, but we shall see what the end result is. And we're just looking at that, it looks very nice grain there, but still, it is commissioned, so I'm trying my best to work within a budget. I'm sure we'll work something out, but it's going to be a big old pipe, hopefully, all being well. I've got a stem lined up. I see my lens is on wide angle at the moment, so you get quite a wide view of the workshop. If you prefer me to zoom in, let me know. Cool. Girth, as it really is, it's kind of exaggerated with thinner, with a wide angle. when I prepare these braai rings, what I usually do is I make sure that one side is completely squared off. The side that joins the ring, it has to be completely square, otherwise the joint won't be smooth. And I don't always do the other side, and what that means is that I can't use this to hold it on, because if it's not straight, it will buckle it and it won't sit straight. So I have to remember in future always to do both sides. That way I can secure it properly. Hi John, how you doing? We'll move it over afterwards. Can't please everybody all of the time, I guess, but we'll change it. Yeah, there's still movement there, so it hasn't adhered properly, so I've got to hold it. I want to get the best sort of adhesion so there's no gap. It's interesting how sometimes stuff bonds really, really quickly, almost immediately. Certainly a skin. I mean, the thing that you want to bond the least quickly bonds the quickest. You know, I find myself almost gluing myself together sometimes, and I catch myself very quickly. You know, I separate it. Sometimes it hurts to separate. I'm using glue all the time, so I remember sometimes to put the gloves on before I use the glue. But sometimes I don't. And what I do is after that, if that does happen, I dip my hands in on the floor, basically on the sawdust, and I rub that on my hands, and it kind of it stops the adhesion. It makes my hands a mess, but at least it stops me getting stuck together. Interesting, people's different opinion on using filters in pipes. I was watching a video this morning. I actually left him my own response, although he had a lot of pretty much almost every single response in favour of what he was saying, and he was basically saying in no uncertain terms that it's stupid to use filters and it's ridiculous if you do. You're an idiot essentially if you do. And he was saying in the sort of in a sort of direct manner, but certainly he wasn't being impolite or anything like that. It's a great channel. I really like it. But he was basically saying that if you're going to subject yourself to using filters, then be prepared for tongue bite, getting goopy mess in your mouth, and all that kind of stuff. Which is, it's completely the opposite. I mean, it's complete. I don't know if it's ignorance or just listening to what other people say. I don't know if he's ever smoked a pipe with a filter himself. But, you know, the vast majority of people enjoy pipes without a filter, and that's great. If you can do that, that's great. And, you know, a lot of people will say that if you teach yourself to smoke a pipe properly, then you won't have a problem using a filter. Well, I did. I spent a lot of time trying to learn to use a filter, and to no avail. Why is this not sticking? And what I said essentially was, number one, with the greatest respect, I have to agree to disagree on this one. And have you actually smoked pipes with a filter to see? Because the experience you're talking about is completely different to the experience that I've had. And I've smoked hundreds and hundreds of bowls with filters, and hundreds without, before I started using filters. So I know the difference, and I make pipes all the time with filters for that reason, you know, to give people that ability to smoke without getting tongue bite every single time they take a draw through a pipe. So I've got some experience when it comes to filters, and I suppose I could say that I've been a protagonist for filtered pipes. The reason why I make filtered pipes is because I smoke them myself, obviously, and when I first moved over from regular to filtered pipes, although there was no shortage of pipes online with filters, but they weren't special. And when you're sort of just getting through the hobby and exploring and finding which pipe shapes you like, and you want to support artisans and you want to get an artisanal looking pipe, there's a difference between a factory pipe is always going to be a classic shape, or you want to make a handmade, or you want to buy a handmade pipe which is going to have a unique shape to it, or the particular style of that particular carver. An artisanal pipe, essentially. It was hard. You could get them in 9mm, but it was a lot harder to get them in 9mm. So I decided to really apply myself to that and really focus on 9mm pipes. It makes it makes it hard. it makes it hard for me. The temptation is there all the time for me to keep my own pipes, but so I guess I have been a little bit of as I say, a supporter of 9mm pipes, and I've pushed it. It obviously makes sense for me to do that, seeing as I'm selling them. But what I said at the end of my comment was, there's no such thing as the right or wrong way. You smoke the pipe the way that it suits you best, and anybody that tells you otherwise, ignore them. It's like that with any in any walk of life. You do it the way that works for you. Obviously, if you're not breaking any laws, they're not harming anybody else, obviously. But do what works for you, because nobody else is going to worry about you. Generally speaking, of course, there are nice people out there who will care for you, but generally speaking, you got to do what's right for you. Yeah, that was exactly the same for me, Richard. It was a eureka moment for me back in the end of 2017 or 2018. 2017, I think it was. Like I said recently in a video when I talked about filters, I don't remember what pushed me on to trying a 9mm filter, but when I did, it just changed my smoking life. I could smoke anything, which I couldn't do before. This is very odd. I don't know why it's not sticking. I might have to put some fresh glue on that. I mean, it is sticking, but it's not. Every time I push it, I can see movement, which means it's not fully adhered. I guess I'll just have to stand here like a glomp. Exactly, John. That is exactly the right perspective. Smoke in the way that it works for you. It's the results which justify the means. It's not the means which justify the results. People, when I do photography, sometimes you get some budding photographers and they'll say, how did you do that, or which way is the right way to do it? I say, just practice and try, experiment, and find what works for you. There's lots of different ways you can achieve results in photography, and do which way works best for you, the way you're most comfortable with. I can give you guidelines. I can tell you, what's going to throw the background out of focus and what's going to give you the sharpest image, and how to use light, perhaps. But ultimately, how you use it and how you implement it, you'll find your way. It is sticking, but it's still not quite there. Nothing else for it. I'm just going to have to hold it. I'm sorry, this is a bit boring. Hey Todd, how are you? Hope you're well. I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're keeping well. It's been freezing cold the past couple of weeks and I'm now quite hot. It's actually pretty flush. Don't know why I didn't do that. Alright, I'm going to leave that for a while. Where's my stand? The bikers come out. Right, there's the stem. Right, so the stem is basically done. I even funneled out the thing a bit earlier. Just do a little bit more while we're waiting for that to glue. Alright guys, I'm going to have to take a break. My wife's not feeling too great, so I'm going to see what she's up to. I'm going to wish you all well. I pray if it don't know if I like it. Oh, I don't know. I haven't tried Carter. I've never smoked any Carter in my life. You can't buy it here, and I've never yet received it. So I don't think I have anyway. So I've never tried it. I know it's an over-the-counter blender in the States, a much loved one, like Prince Albert and Velvet and all that kind of thing. But I haven't tried it. Anyway, thanks everybody. I got a dash. Catch you a bit later. All the best.